The New Orleans Saints came within one play of the NFC Championship game last year, and they currently have the best record in the NFL. They've been one of the best franchises in the league since 2006 and have gone to an NFC Championship game and won a Super Bowl since then. With all this newfound success in the Big Easy, it's easy to forget that at one point the Saints were one of the worst teams in the NFL. Let's start this out with the Saints' inception in 1967. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL from the start, and they didn't even make the playoffs once in their first 20 years. The most accurate modern-day description for them would have to be the Cleveland Browns. The Saints were so bad that they were called the Aints, and fans would show up to their games sporting paper bags on their head. This tradition of losing finally stopped in 1986 with the hire of Jim Mora. In Mora's second season, he took the Saints to the playoffs for the first time in their franchise's history. Mora would continue this winning by bringing the Saints to 3 straight playoff appearances between 1990 and 1992. Unfortunately though, the Saints had still yet to win a playoff game. After these 4 playoff appearances, Mora and the Saints went into a downward spiral that resulted in his resignation in 1996 after 3 bad years. In 1997, looking for a change in the culture, the Saints hired former Bears head coach Mike Ditka. This deal ultimately worked out poorly and was highlighted by Ditka giving up everything for Ricky Williams at the 1999 NFL Draft. In 2000, the Saints named Jim Haslett as their new head coach. In his first year, he coached the Saints to a 10-6 record and led them to their first ever playoff win, ultimately leading to him winning Coach of the Year. Unfortunately though, in usual Saints fashion, Coach Haslett was unable to sustain the success, and the Saints missed the playoffs in the next 5 years. 2005 was by far the worst year of Jim Haslett's tenure. With Hurricane Katrina hitting New Orleans right before the season, the Saints were forced to play home games at LSU and the Alamo Dome Stadium in San Antonio. They would ultimately finish the season 3-13, and Coach Haslett was fired. In the 2006 NFL offseason, the Saints made 2 of the best moves in franchise history by taking a risk in signing the injured Drew Brees to a 6-year, $60 million deal and naming Sean Payton the new head coach. These guys created a new culture in New Orleans that would lead to a 10-6 record. In the playoffs, the Saints would make it all the way to the NFC Championship game, where they lost to the Bears. 2007 and 2008 were tough years for the Saints, and although they scored a lot of points, they went 7-9 and 8-8, missing the postseason in both years. In 2009, the Saints had their best year in franchise history. With the additions of Malcolm Jenkins and Darren Sharper to shore up the secondary, they started out 13-0 and went into the playoffs as the number 1 seed. In the divisional round, they beat Kurt Warner and the Cardinals. In the NFC Championship game, they defeated Brett Favre and the Vikings in an epic overtime thriller, setting them up for a Super Bowl versus Peyton Manning and the Colts. The Saints beat the Colts off a surprise onside kick and a late Peyton Manning pick 6 to Tracy Porter to secure New Orleans' first ever Super Bowl victory. In 2010, the Saints looked to repeat as champions. They won 11-5 but lost to the Seahawks in the wild card round. In 2011, they looked great again. Going 13-3, they smoked the Lions in the wild card round, but ultimately lost in the divisional round to the 49ers after a clutch last-second Alex Smith touchdown pass. During the 2012 offseason, details of the Bountygate scandal really started to come out. This ultimately resulted in head coach Sean Payton being suspended for the entire 2012 season. Without Payton, the Saints went 7-9 and gave up 7,042 yards on defense, the most of all time. In 2013, they rebounded. Going 11-5, they qualified as a wild card team. They beat the Eagles in the first round, but would lose to the eventual Super Bowl champion Seahawks in the second round. Between 2014 and 2016, the Saints would fall into dark times, compiling 3 straight years of 7-9 and some of the worst defensive play in NFL history. They finally turned it around at the 2017 NFL Draft, getting guys such as Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Marcus Williams, Alvin Kamara, Alex Anzalone, and Taysom Hill. They had injected a plethora of young talent into a mediocre team. These selections paid off from the gun, with Kamara winning Offensive Rookie of the Year and Lattimore winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. The Saints had their first winning record since 2013 and went 11-5. In the first round, they beat their divisional rival Carolina Panthers in a close game. In the divisional round, they played the Vikings, where although they overcame a 17-0 deficit, they ultimately lost 29-24 in the Minneapolis Miracle. So far in 2018, the Saints have been one of the league's best. And other than a slight hiccup week 1 against the Bucs, they're sitting pretty at 10-1 with big wins against the Rams, Eagles, and Falcons. Right now, they're on a collision course for the Super Bowl, and Saints fans everywhere should be excited. Alright guys, thanks for watching. A like would be appreciated, and comment down below what you want to see next. See ya!